this set correctly. I think that looks good. Give it a couple minutes and see if anybody pops in. Oh, probably help if I plugged in my microphone. So let's do that. Get the microphone in. All right, we should have audio now. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. Don't know what the hell is going on. I've had it for like 3 weeks. I promised my wife if it kept up that I would go to urgent care and find out what the hell is going on. So there's that. Looks like we got a little bit of a delay on my feed here. So anyways, I'll turn that down a little bit. So off we go. Not sure really where to start on this live stuff. Set this aside because, well, actually, no, I'm not even going to be working on this part because it's done. So set that over here. So I know it's late, so a lot of people aren't able to join in. I seem to have quite a few people on the East Coast and Midwest and stuff that follow the channel, which, by the way, I'd like to take this second to thank all my subscribers. Really appreciate you guys being here. So anyhow, Harder and Steenbeck recently announced that they were coming out with the 2025 version of the Squidmar edition, 2025 edition of the Ultra airbrush. And I went online to their website and was fortunate enough to get my hands on one. Now, I've never owned an Ultra before. I've owned Galeri airbrushes. I've owned Harder and Steenbeck, obviously. I've owned Iwata. My very first airbrush I ever owned was a Posh. And over the years, well, when I got into this hobby, I decided to try out Harder and Steenbeck. And honestly, probably never going to go back. I mean, knock on wood. I say that now, but if an airbrush really catches my eye and it feels good and it works great, I'll try it out. No problem. But so far, my personal taste and needs and everything, Harder and Steenbeck meets all of it. Their engineering is just absolutely bar none fantastic. I have nothing but good to say about my experiences with Harder and Steenbeck, and I encourage you to try them out. I do need to say that I am not this video is not sponsored. I am not sponsored by Harder and Steenbeck. I purchased this airbrush, all my airbrushes, with my own money, and these are just my honest opinions about this particular airbrush. That being said, let's go ahead and unbox this baby. So here we go. Let's see what we got. So right off the bat, super cool packaging. I love the how they got the airbrush on there. I got the gold and black version. I think that's the only version they have available. I don't think they did a silver. And then there's just listing of the parts and everything. Got flow control on the paint, 4mm cup, clog control I don't know what that is. You're gonna get clogs. It's inevitable. Comes with a 0.45 millimeter nozzle. I don't know that I'll be using that nozzle, but we'll see. 0.45 is usually a little larger than I like. So, anyways, yeah, right off the bat, super nice outer packaging. And these are the specs for the needle there. And yeah, we'll set that aside for now. Next up is the airbrush itself. Typical H&S package. I own three of their airbrushes now, and they're all across the board, same box. You know, if it works, use it. And this box works, and clearly Harder and Steenbeck uses it. So here we go. Boom. That looks very pretty. Now, I have already opened this box. Spoiler. I put this needle in here just in case I was going to use this. This is a 0.28 millimeter nozzle and needle. So I'm going to set that aside in case I do want to use it. This part of the box was filled in. And then, of course, they've got the cutouts for the cups and stuff for some of their airbrushes. So, anyways, go ahead and take this bad boy out and pull it aside. Now, right off the bat, gorgeous, gorgeous design. Turn this music down here. So, it's got your flow control here, and they're numbered. That's the one setting, I guess. I never use these. I think they're great for beginners, and I think it's fantastic that H&S puts out airbrushes that have these settings. Just feeling this, I don't particularly, it does move a little bit when you pull the trigger back. So I'm not entirely sure. And then it's got labeled base. So that's your base coat. So you got a little more pull on it. And then your prime coat offers a little, even more pull. And then this part right here, of course, is full trigger, which is where I would set it. And then it's got 1, 2, 3. I honestly couldn't really tell you what those numbers are, other than how far back you can pull the airbrush for your flow. But very, very nice appearance. I like it. This particular airbrush, the Ultra, does not have a threaded cup. It just pops right off, giving you really easy access to your needle as far as cleaning is concerned, which I like that. It's pretty sweet. And of course, all their nozzles are interchangeable. That's one thing I love about Harder and Steenbeck, is that you can change out these nozzles for different size nozzles really easily. And it comes with gasket preloaded. Got your O-ring here. Needle looks nice. Typical Harder and Steenbeck needle. And then it comes with the quick release, which I love. I use the hell out of these things. And yeah, it is interchangeable. So if you wanted to put silver on there, whatever size. That's interesting. It's got a little bit of a, I don't know if that's paint or something on there. Anyhow, super nice though. But let's go ahead and break this down and see what we've got inside. I've already taken the, just for fun, we'll keep the nozzle protector on there just in case. Don't want any accidents. We'll set that aside and place our cup to the side already. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and just pull off the quick release. And the back is just a single piece, so you don't have access to your chuck or anything like that. Okay, this piece, this part, the the flow guide, as I'm going to call it, is loose, so it just slides right out of there. It makes me wonder. Okay, so you can use the airbrush without that. Hey, Jerry, what's happening, buddy? I'm just doing just unboxing my new 2025 Squidmar edition, Harder Steenbeck Ultra. I've never owned an Ultra, so yeah, doing the little unbox. It is pretty. I like it. Thank you. It's got a really cool dragon design around the. Let's see, made in Germany by Harder and Steenbeck, number 25 out of 3,827. So the series they ran was only 3,827 of them, and I got the 25th one. I did check their website about, oh, I don't know, about a half an hour after I ordered this one, and they were already sold out, and they have continued to be sold out. So if you missed out on this one, um, I don't know, start checking eBay or whatever your preference of shopping options are out there. Okay, that's our 0.45 millimeter needle. And I'm going to go ahead and just leave the chuck on there for now. And we're going to pull out our spring assembly. And our trigger comes out nice and easy. So, very basic, simple airbrush by Harder and Steenbeck. I think it's so far it looks very user friendly. I am going to do some spray with this tonight. I've got Spider Gwen. Her body is finished, and so I'm going to be spraying, at least getting her skin layers down tonight. I am determined. I'm not going to lie, this model has kind of become the bane of my existence right now, and I am anxious to get her finished. I've got some other pressing projects coming up. I've got a commission I got to do next. And then I can start getting to work on Obi-Wan Rides Boga, hopefully, if nothing else comes up. So we will be using this airbrush on this. This particular airbrush, I believe, was with tax. It was only $156 from Germany, and that was shipped. So, I mean, in my opinion, compared to some of my other H&S airbrushes, that's extremely reasonable. Um, the Infinity CR Plus that I own. Oops, that boy was 370 at the time of purchase, and this is the previous addition to the 2024 that they released. Phenomenal airbrush. I use this one for all my fine line stuff. So when you compare this airbrush coming in and it's a collector's edition or limited edition, when you compare the price between the two, this is definitely the better price point at only 150 bucks. Um, Looked it up, might have seen the wrong thing then. Yeah, it's on their website under their Squidmar, I think. I forget. But anyhow, yeah, at 156 bucks, I think, with shipping, that was extremely reasonable, especially considered that it's a highly limited edition. So going ahead and we're gonna go ahead and put this bad boy back together again. Okay. Feels good. All right. Goes together nicely, very quick and easy. I like that. I don't think I'm gonna leave this flow control on there though. I don't like using those. It's I've been airbrushing long enough. If you feel more comfortable airbrushing, amateur or pro, if you feel more comfortable, yeah, it is a good price. If you feel more comfortable using it with the flow control on there, feel free, no problem. For the sake of the review part, I actually, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and we'll try it out, see how it works, just for fun. Um, why not? And again, non-threaded cup. It just pops right in, gravity feed. I like that, quick and easy. Of course, you've got the tapered funnel for your needle insert, which is nice that it guides that bad boy in there. You can feel our see our gasket here. Gasket's slick right about there, right where this, we're right about right in the middle of the U. And there we are. We're good to go. Put the back on. Cool. And let's go ahead and do our test spray. I've got my compressor set to 20 psi right now. Now, right off the bat, the trigger's a little stiff, but to be fair, that's to be expected from a brand new airbrush. That spring inside has to, needs a little time to break in, as it were. So let's go ahead and just, I always like to put a little bit of alcohol or water in my cup, just as a first run spray. Okay, trigger's not sticking. Feels good. I like it. It's actually very nice in my hand. Feels comfortable. Cool. All right. Go ahead and clear this out. Well, it's already clear, but let's start. Let's just mix up some fucking paint and get at it. See what happens. Set this aside for now. We're gonna go with our first skin layer, starting with violet, pink, whatever you want to call it, pinkle. Probably way more paint than I need, but that's all right. About a 50-50 mix of paint and water. Yeah, your dad calls it pinkle. Yeah, but what does my mom call it? That's what's important. Yeah, I was making my best attempt not to mention any names. And of course, I don't want to insult anyone's dad. Oh, how cute. Everybody gets little, like, crowns now. I'm not really sure entirely what that means. And one thing I love about these pipettes when you're mixing is you can use it to mix your paint just by giving it a squeeze. So I'm just putting some paint against the side of my cup here to check consistency, and it looks pretty good. It might be a little bit watery. Add a couple more drops. Now this violet red 70.812 Rojo Violeta. It's pretty thick stuff, so you definitely don't want to try and spray that directly through your airbrush without thinning it out. I've said this before and I'll say it again in some of my videos. You don't need to waste your fucking money on expensive thinners. Jerry knows. Just ask Jerry. All you have to do is put some distilled water in there and you're good to go. Glove. Yes, let's get a glove. All right. All right. Here we go. We are ready to try this airbrush out for the first time. Let's see how we do. Way more paint than I need probably, since we're just doing one layer at a time. And where's need another alligator clip. There we go. Cool. That'll work. Now again, this is a 0.45 millimeter nozzle. I don't typically use that large of a nozzle, but we're going to try it out because that's what comes with the airbrush. Wow, look at that. It's actually giving some... So there's a slight delay on the trigger pull. Very nice, though. I like that. Well, let's go ahead and spray our model down and see what happens. Since I'm just doing skin tones, I don't really mind working with the 0.45. Again, this is our pinkle base tone. Yeah, I don't like tip protectors when I'm working, so. Already starting to get a feel for where the paint starts flowing. Again, there is a little bit of a delay. I've just, a lot of people don't like that about Harder and Steenbeck. There are some hacks that you can do to get the delay, to get rid of the delay. I personally have gotten used to a little bit of trigger delay, so it doesn't bother me at all. Basically, what you can do is add a gasket on the... There's a way to add a gasket, an additional gasket, to the chuck where the trigger spring is, and you can that shortens your pull on it. So the ink, the ink, what paint, whatever you're using, will start spraying sooner. Now, one thing I think I would like that for this airbrush to have would be a spring tensioner. I think that would be nice. Does feel nice though. Get this gal really well coated. Cool. Yeah. That's looking nice. Good, I can't wait till this freaking model is done. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just over it. Ready to be done. The 1/4 scale model, I should have had her finished weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago. But shit just kept coming up. I'll just say that. Haven't gotten to spend the time on it that I wanted to, but that's all right. We're almost there. All right. A good place to set that aside. Oh, that's not going to work. Oh, there we go. Cool. Now let's see how she cleans out. Give her a little back flush there. Now, so far, even though the cup is not threaded, I'm not having any issues with water or anything bubbling up from the seam. It's doing what it's supposed to do. That's pretty sweet. I'm just taking a little paintbrush here to clean out the needle. You don't really have to do all that when you're doing skin tones because everything's going to kind of blend together anyways. There we go. All right, ready for our next one. So again, that was this one. Now, next in the skin tone, I'm going to do base flesh. I'm just using the Fairy Flesh set by Vallejo. I haven't needed to use these in a while, so let's go ahead and shake these up. Give this a quick shake up. Mix it. Got a little shaker. Doesn't look like it's moving very fast, but this thing's hauling ass, actually. This is a fantastic shaker. I got it on Amazon. I'll post a link in the description. I don't think I've posted it in a minute. It jumps around pretty good. That should be pretty good. So, base tone again. 74004 in the Fairy Flesh set. Water. Pipe that. Thanks for hanging out, Jerry. I appreciate it, by the way. Thanks for popping in. I know it's late. I had a long day at work today, and I'm super determined to get as much of this freaking model done tonight as I can. So I may go really late. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm at least going to get all these skin tones down and hopefully the hair complete. And then we'll see what time it is then. We'll call it a night. All right. Here's our next skin tone. Let's bring our girl down. Hopefully she's dry. No, she's still a little damp. Give her a quick little blow dry here. So the airbrush I'm using does have a cooling button right here. I highly recommend stealing your wife's hair dryer, but make sure it's got this cooling button on it. If it doesn't have the cooling button, don't steal your wife's hair dryer. She'll get a new one, don't worry. Yeah, 10:15. I tried to do my live streams earlier, but tonight was just not happening earlier, unfortunately. Well, there's our base tone. Here we go. For your base tone, you can kind of You can spray upwards because it's kind of be in the shadows, or you can spray straight at it because again, it's just a base tone. Oh, sounds like you got a short in there, buddy. Doesn't have a GFCI built into it. Maybe it's your outlet, or you just got too much power draw going on. Oh, okay. All right. I think we're good for our base tone. What do you guys think? I think that looks good. You guys, Jerry's the only one in here right now, so that's cool. But I care about what Jerry thinks too. So I'm just going to stick this little V clip up on my cup for a moment while she dries and we get our next color ready. Again, since I'm doing skin tones, I'm not really worried about super cleaning the cup right now. And if the colors commingle a little bit, that's all right. Oh, no issues plugging down. Maybe it's just an issue with that particular leg. That would be my guess. It's just you got a bad leg in there, maybe. If it's tied into like the kitchen or something, you know. I don't know shit about electricity though, so don't listen to me. Okay. Next color. For our next color, we're going to be using medium flesh. So we used our base flesh. We did our pinkle, our base flesh, and now we're moving on to medium flesh. And again, haven't used this one in a minute, so we're going to give it a good shake. Now your laser, are you using that for laser cutting? Is it like a Cricut laser cutter or something? All right. Oh, need more cups. Oh, no worries, Jerry. You're all good, brother. Yeah, I was just asking if it was a laser cutter for like a Cricut or something like that. Oh, okay. I've never used one. They look like fun. I don't really have a, or at least not yet. I don't really have any practical applications for one. So I haven't had the need. Yeah, it feels good. All right. I like that consistency. Oh, thank you, sir. I figured be a good way to test out this airbrush for the first time. Just do some basic skin tones. So that's our medium flesh tone there. And I think I'm pretty well happy with what I'm seeing so far. A bit more on our chin. I'm spraying at a downward angle. We're building up to highlights. And then I'll be doing an undertone after that. Bring out those cheeks a little more. Okay. I think that we are good there. And again, that was our base flesh, or sorry, medium flesh, 74005 in the fairy flesh set. And we're going to clean our cup, move on to the next color. I will be applying washes on this build. Um, some people call it the sideshow method. Sideshow did not invent that method though, so I just call it a wash. There's all different kinds of washes you can do. I'm noticing just in these first couple of colors that the trigger is already starting to feel better. So I see you didn't do a red in the shadows after the pinkle like a lot of people do. So I didn't. I decided I didn't need to do that with her because I feel that doing the red underneath. This is just my personal take on it. I feel like the red underneath is better used for masculine skin tones, and that's a great question, by the way, Jerry. Thank you. I will sometimes do like red undertones if I'm painting a man's skin, and I want a little more red. You know, men tend to spend more time in the sun, yada yada. And I will shoot the red undertones underneath. Um, for females, I typically skip that step and go with the bass tone, you know, like a darker bass tone, and then I'll start building my way up with medium, and then I go to the fairy flesh, and then I'm going to do three washes at that point. And those three washes are going to be the red, yellow, and blue. Um, I usually do yellow first, followed by red, and then a blue wash, um, and then a little spurts of alcohol. And then our final step is going to be the highlight, um, which is, you know, just a very, very, very light touch on the highest edges of her face. And then I'm going to shoot underneath with, I'm not sure which skin tone. I might use Reichland Flesh Shade or Gilliman Flesh. Um, there's Dark Oath Flesh. There's several different ones for female skin tones. Seraphim Sepia is a good one to shoot underneath from. But yeah, long story short, for feminine skin tones, I just prefer to skip that red undertone layer. I just think it works out better on male skin, if that makes sense. Okay, it does make you think it makes sense. Great. I think it makes sense too. I've experimented with it a lot, and even my wife says like, "Did you do that red thing on her skin?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And, you know, okay, because she thinks it looks more feminine that way. Um, and at the end of the day, it's really up to you and whatever the fuck you feel, however the fuck you feel like painting it. You know, that's all that matters. If you like the way it looks, great. Um, that's all that matters. Okay, so now we're moving on to fairy flesh, and we're gonna give this a quick mix. And for anybody that's not in the room and you're watching later on after I publish this video, you can also really simplify your skin tones. You don't have to do 7 layers of skin tones. You can break it down to 3 or 4 layers. It really just depends on your taste and what you're going for. I also take things into consideration. This might sound crazy, but like, where is Gwen Stacy from? Okay, like when you're painting skin tones of people, if it's from a fantasy world, great. You know, you can fucking paint it any way you want. Uh, in Gwen's particular case, she's from New York, and there's a lot of cloud cover in New York for the most part, or sky cover, you know, buildings and tall buildings and shit. She's swinging around. She's covered with her mask and her hoodie and whatever her costume is all the time. So her skin's not exposed to sunlight very often. So she's going to be pretty fair skinned. It's fair to say. I take weird shit like that into consideration. And so that's another part of the reason why I'm choosing lighter skin tones without too much red. And you'll see when we do the wash that that red will come out. There will be some reddish tone in her skin. So again, moving on to fairy flesh, which is almost like an orangish, like an orangey flesh. Really nice skin tone. One of my favorites. I've actually painted models just using these three right here. The base flesh tone and fairy flesh on top of that. And it looks phenomenal. It's really nice color combination. Like I said, it just really depends on what you're going for. Now, fairy flesh don't need a lot of it because this layer goes real quick. It's almost highlight. You know, we're not really going to be doing a full coverage coat on it. kind of like our last skin tone. We're just bringing up these that's not good to use. Just bringing up these tones, the cheekbones up here, tip of the nose, touch on the lips and the chin. So don't really need a lot. And again, spraying down from the face. I'm not too concerned about the top of her head because her hair's covering a good portion of her forehead. And you can really see those layers starting to lift up. You got the darker tone underneath. You can you can see that there's a good shadow underneath her eyelids. One thing I haven't decided is whether or not we're going to do any freckling. Does Gwen Stacy have freckles? Anyone know? I'm not even sure. Is she a redhead? I should know this shit. Yeah, I think we're gonna call that good. I I like that. She's got some good volume. It's not too saturated. That's gonna get toned down anyways. But I think her skin is looking beautiful so far. I kind of feel like she needs freckles. Like a couple of them, maybe. I could look that up. Let me see here. Hey Siri, what color is Gwen Stacy's hair? She's blonde. Okay. Guess we're doing blonde. That's cool. Okay. Now we set the airbrush aside. And we get our washes. So we got yellow, red, and blue. And what I'm going to be using for our washes today are Game Ink by Vallejo. I really love these for doing skin washes. Great consistency. I usually do about a 50-50 mix of water and ink. Hey Siri, does Gwen Stacy have freckles? This was Into the Spider-Verse wiki fandom. Let's take a peek. Um, I love this about the internet. Huh. Gwendolyn Maxine Stacy. Okay. Not saying much about whether or not she's got freckles. Maybe, let's, we're going to forego freckles. Why not? Fuck it. This wash doesn't need to be too heavy. And, oh, I'm missing a step here. Oops, that could have been bad. So, before we do our washes, one thing you want to do is a clear coat. You want to protect these skin layers. So, before we do that, before we lay down our washes and our final layer, you want to clear coat this. Now, the reason why you want to clear coat this, why this step is super important, I'm not using anything crazy. I'm just using rattle can, as you could hear, I'm sure. Um, it's important to clear coat before this step because as soon as you're laying down the last wash of blue, we're going to give her spurts of alcohol. And if you don't have this thing clear coated beforehand, you're going to fuck up your skin tone. So that's why. Some images had freckles and some didn't. Okay, that's cool. Oh, I gotta open my garage door a little bit real quick while I. In fact, I'm gonna take her outside because one thing I will say about this stuff is it is really stinky shit. Pop the cap here. All right. That's it. A little spurts of clear coat. Dry this off real quick. Excuse me. Yeah, maybe we'll add a couple of freckles on her nose or something. A couple on her cheeks or who knows. We'll see how we feel about it. All right. We, meaning I. This looks like it could use a little bit more water. Want don't want to do a wash with this paint with this ink right out of the bottle. So again, we're using 72.085 of the game ink, and I'm gonna just use a kind of a fat sloppy brush because this part goes on quick. And gonna get our sponge ready. See, yeah, that feels good. I'm gonna need to rinse this sponge off a little bit. I think I want to make sure it got a nice clean sponge. And yes, I did. When my wife is done with her makeup sponges, she knows to give them to me, and these are fantastic. Like this one's one of my favorites for getting little tight details and stuff. But yeah, if your wife uses these are fantastic for dabbing skin washes when you're done. Highly recommend. So here we go. I know it looks kind of scary at first. This part you do want to move pretty quickly on. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and start dabbing. Good. I like it. That that wash is done. That's how quick it goes. Now, rinse rinse off your sponge. You don't want these colors mixing. And what I like to do with my sponge when I'm done with it is go ahead and take some of the excess water off of it, off the surface. And don't forget to rinse your brush. It doesn't really matter on that part. Now, we're going to repeat the same step using red ink. It's the 72086. Don't need a lot. We're going to be about 50%, maybe 70% water in there. You can kind of see how thick it is just by how it goes down the cup once you get it up on the side there. I like that consistency, so we're going to go with that. And here we go. Again, have your sponge ready. You don't want this to sit on the model for too long. You want it to go pretty quick. Okay. Oh, I got a hair on there. All right, that's gone. Let's dab. Time to dab. Not that kind of dab, kids. If you, I don't know if you can see that, but it's really starting to bring out a very realistic looking skin tone on her face. So we all have little teeny tiny minute inconsistencies in our skin, capillaries, blood vessels, things like that, the way the sun affects our skin. And that's what these wash steps do, is help bring that realism out, especially the last step with the blue. Um, this one you have to do really quick, but you'll see in a second here. The step doesn't take long, but especially on these 1/4 scale models, at this size, this particular step, in my opinion, is pretty freaking important, because it really heightens the realism in the skin tone. It's very nice, and it's very easy to do. Really, really easy. Where's my alcohol bottle at? Got a little tiny spray bottle around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. You get that ready too, because I'm going to need that for this next step, which hopefully will translate on camera really well because it's pretty neat when we do this last step. It's really cool what the alcohol does to the blue. Creates very realistic looking blood vessels and capillaries, and it literally happens in a second. Pretty trippy stuff. I actually learned this technique in my sculpture class when I was in college. I want to say in 1994. Tori Sepulveda, rest in peace, one of my all-time favorite teachers. She was my art professor, and she taught me, when sculpting figures, when you're painting a figure, um, to do this three color wash on the model if you wanted to get realistic skin tones. And I've been using it ever since I started this hobby. Didn't really need it much growing up because I wasn't doing 3D printing and painting. And then when this hobby invaded my life, um, I just did red. What am I doing here? When this hobby invaded my life, I immediately started using this when I started painting figures. And of course, going down the YouTube rabbit hole, I saw that like all the guys in Sideshow and stuff were using this method, and then other people were calling it the Sideshow method, which I thought was funny because it's been around forever. Sideshow did not invent this. So this blue can't be left on very long at all. You want to do it quick. So we're going to have our denatured alcohol ready to go. It's 99%. Keep that to the side. And I'm just looking at how thick it is. It seems a little on the thin side. Let's go with one more drop. Boom. That's it. That's what I want. Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. Sponge is ready. Got all of our moisture out of it. We rinsed it off. The alcohol bottle is ready. Blue. And our paintbrush. Get that nice and rinsed off real quick. I'm actually going to use... I think I'm going to go with a large round tip on this one because I want this to cover real quick. Right, here we go. Watch carefully. Okay, and here's the magic. Take your bottle of alcohol, give it a spritz. You see what happened to her face there? Leave that sit for a second, and then start dabbing. You probably have seen this done 100 times, I'm assuming, Jerry. But that's how it's done. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, but there are little teeny tiny variations in her skin that can be interpreted as like blood vessels. And I'm also noticing a little hair up there that worked its way in. So I'm going to take the end of this, very gently pull that off. You can use a toothpick, or in my case, I use the end of this. But a little bit of wood will help keep you from scratching paint. And again, that alcohol on the model is the reason why you base coat. Well, you know, base coat, you clear coat after your, before you do these washes. You want to get that clear coat on there because the alcohol will fuck up your paint job. It'll smudge, and the second you touch it, it'll screw it up. If you don't believe me, fuck around and find out. Oops. All right. So that's all done. All right, Jerry. Thank you, man. Love you, brother. Glad you stopped by and hung out for a little while. I'm going to do this last final flesh tone here. We're going to do our highlight skin, and I don't know, I might call it a night here. It's creeping on 8 o'clock, and I'm ready to get some GTA 5 in me. I like to spend a little time every night killing some 12-year-olds on video games if I can help it. Anyways, yeah, have a great night's sleep, Jerry. Don't work too hard tomorrow, brother. I'll have this video published later tomorrow afternoon for anybody who'd like to check it out. Thanks again for stopping in, bro. Appreciate you, man. All right, so moving on, we just did the our skin tone washes. So we're gonna put these back up on the rack since we don't need those again tonight. Yellow. All right, and let's mix up our last skin tone of the evening. I have to say, I'm totally digging this new airbrush, this Ultra. If you didn't get your hands on one, you probably missed the boat. I do not believe H&S Harder Steenbeck is releasing another one or another series. This one was what? This one was number 25 out of 3,827. And they were sold out about, I don't know, probably about 30 minutes after I was lucky enough to get this one. So, yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this airbrush. The trigger's a little stiff, but, that's to be expected in a brand new airbrush. They take a little time to break in. And then you've got the flow collar on here is what I call it. And this helps control. I'm using full trigger option, so I have, you know, every bit of trigger that I need or want. For those of you who are maybe beginning to play with airbrushes, you've got your prime layer right there. They're labeled, or you can switch to a base coat, so there's a little less trigger on it. And then number 3 is less trigger. 2, even less. Number 1, or wait, no, 1 is more. Large, medium, small, basically, and then folder. But yeah, this is a super nice airbrush, and I do love the design on that. The material's cool. It doesn't feel like it's gonna scratch off or anything like that. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's pleasing. It's pleasing to the eye. Okay, so if you just got in, we got our base tone, our skin tones. We started off with violet red, 70812. And then did our base tone, flesh 7. This is the fairy flesh set. You can still order this on Amazon here in the United States, but I do know in other countries it's been very difficult to get this set. So if any of my UK friends want this set, check on Amazon Marketplace, see if they have it. But there's plenty of substitutions out there that you can get to match these sets. But the key, of course, that number right there. If you're looking for that specific paint by Vallejo, you go by that number, and you should be able to find it. So I'll follow that up with medium flesh 74005, and then we put our fairy flesh down, and then we did our yellow, red, and blue skin washes to get our tone. And next we're going to go with our highlight skin tone, which is the not the final layer of skin, but pretty much the final layer as far as our highlights go, and bringing up the volume of her skin. So let's go ahead and shake this up real quick. This layer goes real fast, and you're also watering it down quite a bit because you want it to be pretty transparent, because you want these, you don't want to paint over these washes that you just did. They should show up underneath this final skin tone, if that makes sense. So how's everybody doing tonight? I see we got somebody still in here, it looks like. That should be pretty well mixed. Hope everybody had a fantastic Wednesday. Or if you are in a different European country, on the if you're on the other side of the planet, it's probably already tomorrow. Any of my friends in China are 16 hours ahead tomorrow. My UK friends are 8 hours ahead. I'm gonna, while that paint's drying a little bit, I'm just looking for some music to put in for the background. Oops. Delete. Next. Here we go. Some good mellow stuff here. All right. I think we're good. Let's go ahead and mix up our next color, which again is highlight skin 74008. We're going to mix this thin. Don't need a lot. A little dab will do ya. Yeah, right off the bat, I like that consistency. It feels good. Go ahead and spray that in our airbrush. And we're going to be shooting downward, just kind of concentrating on like the tip of the nose, cheekbones, chin, just that. like it. Call it good on that layer. And I'm gonna set her aside. Clean out our cup. Oh, okay. Where did that go? Oh, I see it. Ah. Well, there's the first drawback I see about this. Is you want to be careful if you're dumping your airbrush like I do. You want to ensure that your cup is fastened on really well. Otherwise, it'll go flying off. I think I'm gonna do sepia maybe. That's too dark. Way too dark. Gilliman flesh. I like the sepia tone. I think we're gonna go with that. We're gonna use the sepia tone on the undertones of her skin. And for that, I would like a smaller needle. So we're gonna change that out real quick to our 0.28 millimeter. Getting ahead of myself here. Getting some air bubbles. How's everybody doing tonight? What's everybody up to? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you guys being here. This nozzle's giving me a little bit of issue right now. Well, I guess we're just gonna go back to the 0.45 millimeter nozzle, because this one is not performing the way it should. So if you guys are new here, or just getting in, this is the new Harder Steenbeck 2025 Harder Steenbeck Ultra Squidmar edition. And I was lucky enough to get my hands on one. They sold out about a half hour after I bought this one, and I do not know that they are going to be available again. But if you'd like to get your hands on this airbrush, it is the 2025 Harder Steenbeck Ultra. Fantastic, fantastic airbrush. I'm really enjoying this so far. We've got our 0.45 millimeter nozzle back on. Not spitting bubbles. We're good to go. All right. So I'm just doing some undertones on Gwen Stacy's noggin right now. Undertone, I should say. And I'm using Seraphim Sepia by Citadel to do this layer. And we'll be shooting from the bottom up. I think I like that. Cool. Pretty happy with that so far. I like the way it looks. Trying to find a good lip color for her. I kind of feel like she should be wearing lipstick. Emperor's Children pink. We can mix up a little bit of that maybe. Follow that up with a little bit of magenta, I think. Probably look pretty nice. Way more paint than I needed, but that's all right. How's it going? Welcome in. Okay. Gonna move my a little bit here. Got a little bit of hair on her here. That's all right. Okay. So if you're kind of just tuning in, the first part of the video was just kind of an unboxing and review of the new 2025 Harder Steenbeck Squidmar Edition 2025 Ultra. So that ship has sailed, and we were using that airbrush to go through our skin tones here for Miss Gwen Stacy, aka Spider Gwen. Now I'm obviously working on her lips. What do you guys think so far? I think she's coming along pretty nicely. Pretty happy with it. I think she's looking good. Who thinks she should be wearing lipstick? Right now I'm just doing kind of like the natural lip look. What do you guys think? Lipstick or no? Let's take a poll of the. Well, now there's nobody in here. There were two people. Second I ask questions, talking to somebody, you guys bounce. That's cool. Fine with me. Let's go with some Reichland Flesh Shade now. For her eyebrows. For blondes, I just find that this Reichland Flesh Shade makes a good eyebrow color. One thing I like about this model is that they did pretty nicely sculpted eyebrows on her. We've even got some texture to them, so you can use like a wash color, which is what I'm doing here. I'm using Ranklin's Flesh Shade to get the detail on her eyebrows, and it I don't know if you can see that. Gives some nice definition. And now I'm gonna do the same with her eyelids, or eyelashes, I should say. I feel like I could almost use like a Nuln oil on that. Would bring out the tone nicely. Just apply a little couple of beauty marks here and there, just for fun. Kind of breaks up the skin a little bit. Gets your eyes to move around. Excuse me. All right. Where is it? There we go. Alright, set her aside. Okay, let's at least get some hair done. Blonde. Where are we at here? I want to check and see if her ears are even visible when her hair is on. I need to clear coat this. Well, I'm afraid of. I'm gonna have to clear coat that tomorrow. Well, I guess we'll find out later. I really want to get this hair going. And for that, I think we're just gonna use a brush. My blonde. I like to start off with the Sandry dust. Makes for good blonde hair. I think I might be calling it a night pretty quick here. I am getting tired. It was a long day today. Yep, phone's just about dead anyways. So, yep, gonna wrap this up after I get this first layer done on her hair. Wrap it up and call it a night. I can tell too, but I think my internet's kind of bogged out right now. Anyways, the recording should be fine, but live stream is a whole other story. Don't worry, we're just doing this wash to get into the cracks and crevices of the hair. She's not gonna have brown hair. There we go. Let that dry. I promise she will be blonde. All right. I think I'm about ready to call this live stream good for the night. Gonna let that wash dry. It's just darkening up the little cracks and crevices inside the hair. And then later we'll go over and dry brush the Xandri dust real lightly on top of that again. And then possibly follow that up with like a yellow tint to really bring the blonde out. Maybe even use like a really light skin tone for the highlights and stuff. It's gonna look nice, I promise. But for now, you can kind of get the idea of what's going on there. Made some good headway on her face. Pretty much just need to do her eyeballs and call it good and get her hair done. And then this will be the final chapter in Spider Gwen. And then some lucky person's gonna get to take this model off my hands and display it. They decide to do with it, which it'll be fun to do the giveaway. I think we'll have a good time with that. I'm excited. I'm excited for whoever gets to win her. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna call it a night. Everybody have a great one. Thanks for stopping by, checking out my video. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live or dropping new videos. Whatever happens. And again, this was our review of the Squidmar Ultra, the 2025. It's the Squidmar 2025 Ultra Squidmar edition. They're sold out. You might be able to get them on aftermarket. I got lucky and got one. But if you want to try out the Harder Steenbeck Ultra, I do highly recommend this brush. I like it. I love it. It's pretty. The normal option, I believe they have it available in silver. You'll have to go to harderairbrush.com to check them out. Again, I'm not sponsored by Harder and Steenbeck, so if anybody over at Harder and Steenbeck is listening and they'd like to sponsor any future content that I do, please hit me up. Fantastic airbrush, though. I'm really stoked on it. I am pleased. We used that airbrush to do the skin tones for Gwen tonight. Worked flawlessly. I really enjoyed using it. So that was a good time. And yeah, I'm definitely going to keep this airbrush in my arsenal. This is again the collector's edition, but they do have a standard form of the 2025 Ultra. Highly recommend it. Great airbrush. Anyways, yeah. Good night, everyone. Again, thank you for stopping by. Love you all, and happy 3D printing, happy painting. Hit that like and subscribe button and the bell notifications. And y'all have a good night or good day. Love y'all. Toodles.